So it comes with 2 clutch plates.
Slow your roll goes on.
First time you put it on, so I don't know how much.
Oh.
Look at that.
Hey everybody, I'm here with Trevor Watring in the studio, and I previously made a video about, can I see? The Nowear BMX Slow Your Roll. Is a bottom bracket spacer that allows you to take control over how much or if your cranks can spin at all whenever you're riding your bike. And Trevor got one of these from Carl while we were out in Nebraska to put on his bike. So while we're filming his bike check here and putting new parts on it, I thought it'd be cool to do a video specifically on putting this on the bike. So I suppose we could jump right on into it. First step.
Take off the crank.
Yep. Take off the old one. That was easy. Let's hope the rest of it is that easy.
Well, these Thunderbolts, man.
They lock on.
Yeah, you take this bolt off and you're like, sweet, I'll just be able to pop it off.
Do we need to keep it in a little bit to hammer on it?
Yeah, maybe. Just to loosen it up a tiny bit.
Yeah, let's hope that when you hammer on that, it
actually comes out.
it just pops right off. Be the other side. Oh yeah. Honestly, if it was me, I would hammer on the bolt itself to try and push the other side too.
We can try that.
Let's go. I think it's working.
There we go. Look at that.
Gotta love when it works.
Yep.
Yeah, there's nice.
Sweet.
I have a question for anyone watching. Do any of you get bothered by the smell of grease whenever you have that friction grease smell? 'Cause I hate it. There you go. This is already going pretty well.
Yeah.
So first step in this whole process is getting your cranks to the point where you're able to put the slow your roll on, which means removing your pre-existing non-drive side spacer. And a very important element of this whole entire thing is having your bottom bracket spacer in the frame between your bearings, because this thing relies on friction and pushing on the bearing. And if you have nothing in between, then that means that it's pushing against nothing, and it may still slow your cranks down or stop them, but at the same time, it's going to be impacting the life of the bearing itself. So what comes in the package?
So it comes with 2 clutch plates, 1 extra.
Yep.
And then it also comes with the Allen key to adjust these. And this is what you use to adjust how much friction you want on it.
Yep. And then it comes with the piece itself, as well as a couple
And a
cool
little sticker.
stickers. It's awesome. So at this rate, you're going to be putting on the spacer, and we need to show a close-up because it is important that it goes in and you see this little lip. See how this side...
See how this one...
Here. There's a lip on this side, and then you flip it over, and there is no lip. It is very important that you put it on correctly. The
lip side out.
So that would be with this little lip. Let's focus on it and just go ahead and you can put it on there. Lip side out. And that is important because if you put it lip side in and then you tighten those things, it's not going to do anything, because it puts a layer between the bearing and the actual piece. Let me get a nice close up there of you putting that on there. And the slow your roll goes on. It's such a simple process there. Tossing on the wedge cluster of the Thunderbolt crank.
Yeah, this is always a pain sometimes.
Always sometimes a pain.
Yeah, always sometimes a pain. All right, there we go.
This is also a good teachable moment for the Thunderbolt cranks too, because a lot of people have questions when they put these on for the first time, and I'll show once you actually put the other one on what we're talking about.
Yeah, and also a lot of kids, and I've seen kids make this work, but when you break this rubber band on here, you got to be very careful when you take it off and put it back on, because you don't break that rubber band or whatever, because You can put it back together without it, but it's a pain.
So the next step before we let you in on the Thunderbolt tip is we're just going to toss some grease onto that wedge cluster just so it's easy to take off next time. Metal on metal. You don't want it to get stuck to itself.
Especially, normally people don't take the cranks off for a very long time. It'll get rusted and rust together.
Yep. All right, so toss in this crank on. There's a rag there too if you need to wipe your hands. All right, so crank goes on. I'm going to get close here.
Yeah.
So the thing and the tip here is that you are supposed to be able to see that wedge cluster on the outside of your crank. It is actually meant to be put on like that. I know the first time I installed Thunderbolt cranks, I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? Is this correct? And I've had other people message me asking this. I do have a video on installing them, but if you haven't seen that yet, yeah, it's meant to be like that and nothing is wrong.
Also put a little bit of grease on this. Even though I have a little bit of Never Seas on it, so it never hurts to have a little more grease on it.
Grease is your friend.
Yes.
Bolt going back in. The cool thing here too with this is that you can tighten your cranks as much as they need tightened, but not have to go any further because then you use the Allens on that to stop them from spinning.
Okay. So you want to make sure also when you put that slow your roll on that you see how it's got this little gap right here? You want to make sure that that is where your crank is.
Yeah.
So you can get to each bolt.
Is yours off?
Yeah. This is also my first time ever using a bike stand, so it's kind of nice.
Is it nice? You like it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Welcome to the studio. The reason that we just moved this around is because on this, if you don't line these bolts up in a way, or the Allen screws up in a way, you're not going to be able to access all of them because one could be behind, and that's why there's a gap so big between these two.
And you know what's crazy is I didn't have to put on any washers. This is my old one, and putting this on is about the same width.
Oh, perfect. It's just another silver park for the Frost BMX bike build.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. So
when you put it together, your crank should still spin freely before you tighten those down.
Yep, give me another spin. Spinning freely. But when you tighten the Allen down,
should slow it down quite a bit.
Yep. So let's show that.
You have to do them evenly. I'm just doing a half turn because it's the first time me putting it on, so I don't know how much it's actually going to slow it down.
Yep. All right, let's find out.
Okay.
So I need a little more. You're going to have to tighten a little bit.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Let's see. All right. That's less.
Yeah, it's significantly less.
Just showing examples here. Going all the way to where you want to go with it. Every time you tighten it more, it just slows it down.
Okay, let's just see what that does because that was out further than all the other ones.
There you go.
Yeah. That's why it's important to tighten them down evenly. Which I think if I get them all flush, it should be good. I'm going to just try to get them all flush.
Ooh, there you go.
That's almost where I want it.
So what you're seeing is the different levels of tightness of this and the fact that you have full control over how much your cranks can spin, or if they do it all on your bike without having to like ruin a bearing or put a tire in there or something like that. Like a tire can work, but this is something that gives you complete control over it and it looks good at the same time. It's a very nicely machined piece. Oh.
Look at that.
Is that what you're looking for?
That's about what I'm looking for.
There you go. So that is the install process for the Nowear BMX Slow Your Roll. I'll have a link for them in the description down below. And if you haven't yet, go watch Trevor's bike check to see the rest of his bike. Let's go. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you tomorrow. Follow Trevor. Goodbye.